So, and welcome one and all to the monthly Rideshare podcast. This is the first episode, season 2. We actually survived a year, even though we didn't quite get our Christmas season finale wrap up. What can I say? Everyone gets busy during the holidays. My December was especially busy, but hello, one and all. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I am Kevin, the Apptrepreneur. And in the room today, we have Cecily from Drive Girl Drive. Say hi, Cecily.
Hey there, guys. Happy New Year.
We have got the one and only Mark from Uber Hints.
Hey, everybody.
And Mike from Your Driver Mike. Well, he couldn't be here today for personal reasons. So we have a guest co-host for the new year and the new season. You know him as the artist formerly known as Uber Driver 101. It is Rideshare Dustin. Say hi, Dustin.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy New Year.
All right. And so today's episode, we are going to be discussing the big question, the one people have been asking for a long time. What's going to hit first, the 10,000 party subscription or the Uber IPO? I'm kidding. It's going to be the party. Me and Cecily are finalizing the dates on Facebook. Don't worry, folks. You'll get to see that video. We're just going to use
the IPO was going to be it.
It could have been. You never know. So
will it be open bar?
I don't.
No alcohol.
Yeah, I don't drink. What can I say? In fact, that's been kind of like the new debate for the for those of you who are not aware, I'm sure you are. No, I've never had alcohol.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Well, I'll tell you something, Kevin. I can honestly say that I don't drink anymore. I don't drink any less, but I don't drink anymore.
I love it.
I see. Well, I know you've been drinking before the podcast started, and this is what Uber does. This is what Uber does to you folks. Like he hears that we're going to do a podcast a week in advance, and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to be drinking before I do another season of this thing." So this will be a fun episode, but it's actually funny because it's kind of becoming like a big debate between me and my now fiance. For those of you who have not heard,
congratulations.
I know there's some confusion. People are like, oh well, I thought you were already married. And it's like, well, the joke was we were married online, and it was kind of like a little joke that we never corrected, and so then we were just married online. But now we're gonna actually be married. So one of the big debates now is whether or not there's going to be alcohol at the wedding. I said no. She said yes. So the compromise is it's going to be
alcohol at a wedding.
Yeah, well, it's going to be ticketed now. There's going to be 2 drinks per person, and after that, they can buy their own drinks. And so that's cool. The compromise we came to. That's apparently my dad's like, oh, you're already learning the first good rule. It's like compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Just agree with her. Just that's the best you can do.
Well, I'm not going to agree that Transformers 5 was a good movie. I'm sorry.
Hilarious.
there's just some things that places we're not going to go. But yeah, for the most part, I'm learning that lesson. So anyway, since it is a new year, since it's a new season, it's always like kind of a good thing to look at where our channel's been for the last year, where it's going to go. But before we start talking about that, big question everyone wants to know: did anyone here, aside from me, ironically, drive New Year's Eve?
No, sir.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Well,
yes, I did, sort of, before midnight.
Oh, you did drive a little bit. So did you get to midnight?
No, I stopped about 11.
11. Oh, see, that's as they say,
that was
doing it wrong, because the real money's after midnight.
Yeah, but the real fun comes for me after midnight too. And the risk of something happening bad, like a puker or an accident or something like that, also increases drastically after midnight.
Yes, it does. So that I'm not gonna. Yeah, obviously. So, well, okay. So I'm the only one who drove for New Year's Eve, and that'll probably be the last New Year's Eve I drive. It actually was a pretty good night. Made good money in like 3.5 hours, about $350. But
wow, nice.
But keep in mind, I'm still where the surge multiplier is, and I know that the flat surge is coming. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to hit, but I know it's going to hit at some point, and once that happens, that'll be it for me. That will.
How many markets still have multiplier, and how many have the flat rate? Any idea?
It's a lot of markets that still have the multiplier. I think the flat rate's only in like somewhere between 5 to 10 markets.
Yeah, mine happens to be one of them.
Yeah, it's because from what I've been hearing, whenever the flat surge is announced, and whenever it takes place at it, I should say, they do. A lot of people quit driving, and I mean a lot of people. Like more people leave. That it takes a lot longer to recover, from what I am understanding, and that makes perfect sense. But Uber, of course, is stubborn, and they will just wait that market out because eventually it does get better after a month or two, maybe 3. You have new drivers. They don't realize that they're getting gypped on this thing, and they sign up, and they basically have to wait for the market to correct itself. And once that market is stabilized, then they can open it in a few more markets. So I still think the vast majority of the country is still the multiplier because drivers did not embrace they didn't even come close to embracing this. Some of the Uber tubers who make $2,000 a month have complained about this. So when you've got the people that just get offended that you don't like Uber, you say something bad at Uber when they're saying that this sucks, it's not popular.
Well, let's rephrase that though. It only sucks if you're getting decently or normal to longer trips. If it's a really short, right around the corner, that's when you're making a killing on it.
Oh yeah, and in fact, in all fairness, I've got a video. It's probably going to be next week because it keeps getting pushed back because of news events. But someone sent me some screenshots where they made like $600 in like a couple of hours from the flat surge because all of the surges were like $15, but most of the trips were like less than 2 miles.
And we can't forget that there are some markets that don't offer surge at all. Like there's some people who've never tasted these fruits that you guys are talking about.
Oh yeah, because they're just not busy enough. That's like if you go to Kentucky, I don't want to make fun of people from Kentucky, but I suspect that there's a lot. No, not Kentucky, Kansas. I'm sorry. If you go to like a lot of places in Kansas, there's probably not a lot of surge. It's mostly fields and stuff like that. So
tornadoes took the surge with them.
Yeah, exactly. So
Watertown, New York.
Watertown, New York. Is that another one where there's
no surge?
Is that a
place? Is that a location?
I never heard of that.
It's a place where they get a tiny little airport. And when I was waiting for to get to my rental car, I saw someone had in the waiting room, they had a display with their business card for Uber and Lyft. And I was really surprised in a tiny little podunk town.
Wow.
Of course, now they're not allowed to do that, theoretically, right?
Well,
right.
Everybody at least looked at their apps. What was the highest surge you guys saw? Mine was $36.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My highest.
Oh yeah, I did see that map on that tiny little island. It was $35.
Yeah, well, that's Clearwater. That's Clearwater Beach. That's like a major place, but there's only one way or 2 ways in, and you know what I mean. Like, and they're both so long of bridges that it was not worth it. You'd only get one ride, and you'd be lucky to get out of there within an hour.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, in all fairness, $35 plus the fare would be a good return for an hour's worth of work.
Yeah.
Then that does also bring up the other question, like, wouldn't you rather like take 3 short trips outside that area and get the same $30 and maybe more?
Yeah, because at least around it was still like at least in the 20s. So probably would have made more not going to that spot.
Yeah, but hey, I got a 5-point multiplier on New Year's Eve, and the trip was like more than 40 miles away. That was a $185 ride plus $20 tip, which they probably would not have given me, but when they were asking how my year's going, of course I'm going to talk about my engagement, and they're going to look me up on YouTube, and so I got a lot of pretty good tips from people like, well, here, put this towards the wedding.
Oh,
was that an Uber X?
That was Uber X.
Okay,
yeah,
that's still not bad at all. I'd love to.
No, it's not. No, it's not bad at all. So and then of course it was really funny. One of the comments I got was like, oh, so you made money that night. Don't you agree that Uber's good? And it's like, don't you think you should stop saying they're ripping you off? And I'm like, so I make money on Uber one night of the year, and I'm supposed to ignore the other 364 days?
I know.
Praise
right?
them in one video.
I mean,
no,
I
in all fairness.
mean,
There's only 2 days where it's definitely worth it, no matter what market you're in, and that's St. Patrick's Day and New Year's. That's the only 2
Halloween.
days.
And Halloween.
Halloween,
Yeah,
if you're in a college town.
We'll give Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah, that was almost like saying, oh, so you liked Bumblebee? So isn't it time to admit the Transformer movies are good? And it's like, no, they still made 5 of them that were 3 hours long. They all sucked, and I'm never going to get that time back. What are you talking about?
You didn't like the Transformer movies?
Well, the first one was okay, but boy, no, I really do not like the Transformer movies.
Man.
So do what I do and just watch The Godfather 7 times.
Oh, you know, one of my thoughts watching Transformers 4, because it's like 170 minutes long, I swear, one of my first thoughts after that was over, and I looked at the clock, and I'm like, dear God, I could have spent 10 more minutes and watched The Godfather, and that would have been way more worth my time to watch that for the 10th time and to watch this once.
Hysterical.
But anyway, now we're getting way off topic. This is not a movie podcast. This is an Uber podcast. So let's get back to our channels.
Now, rumor has it that Sonny Corleone was in an Uber when he was shot down.
So anyway,
I had a woman on my channel say that she has been driving for Uber for 25 years.
Oh, God.
Come on now.
I'm not kidding.
You know, one of these days we should really just gather some of the funniest negative comments and just do an episode where we just read these bad comments and stupid comments people make that people love those videos, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. I've got a whole
That's a segment I've been doing at the end of my video. It's a new segment I've added about a month ago where I take on some of those and answer them. It's the most fun I ever had.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen him do that on his channel.
Yeah,
I'm kind of like, I'm not really sure how I want to go about it, because when I see negative comments, I'm like, good. Now I can like put all my frustration out on you and talk to you crazy. At the same time, I feel like, should I pay attention to negative energy, or should I reward people that do that? So I'm still kind of in the middle on that issue.
It's a very fine line you have to walk, Annie, and I speak this from experience, even as recently as the last couple of weeks, where, you know, people have been saying some really nasty things, and you don't take it personally per se, and you almost want to respond because it's like they sound so stupid,
exactly,
and you want to correct them, but then there's a part of you where it's like, but you're kind of giving them the attention they want, but then if you don't respond, then some people look at you like, well, why aren't you responding? Is there some truth to this? So it's hard to figure that out sometimes. And in fact, before we started the episode, Cecily mentioned that she didn't update as much because the negativity of Uber was getting to you. Is that the words you used?
Yeah, I mean, it really it turned into, because I'm inspired by what I have to say, and a lot of those topics were negative topics, like, this is why Uber sucks, this is why I don't like this about Lyft or DoorDash or what have you. And I was like, I don't want this channel to turn into a bash this entity type of channel. That's not what I wanted to do. I didn't set out to do that. I wanted to talk about my own experience and how to work towards your goals within the confines of these particular apps. And I just felt like I was in such a negative place on the topic that I wanted to sit back and try to find another way to engage my existing, subscribers, and to do something that was positive. And so, there's oftentimes I come to the table, I'm like, what do we want to talk about? And it's like, we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't want to talk about, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to record that. And there's plenty of videos that I've recorded and edited, and I'm like, I'm not going to upload this, because I also feel like I'm not alone in the way that I feel, and I don't want to just sit in this cesspool of negativity. I just don't want to do that. There's enough of that going around. And I do admire those that are able to stay above board and to be positive on things and to focus on that. And there's just a point where I kind of lost my focus. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was getting into it with other rideshare YouTubers and things, and it was just like my ego kind of got a part of it as well. And it was like, you know what, I'm getting away from where my true intention on this channel, and I just want to wait for a reset. And that's where I've been. And you know, my channel's still growing. People are still watching. People contact me all the time. They share stuff with me. They share topics with me. They're like, sound off on this, sound off on that. But I just want to do it in a place where I'm in control. I don't want this to become like an emotional rant channel.
The last thing you want is to become like that Apptrepreneur channel. That would suck. but in all seriousness, I understand.
But I don't even see your channel as being there. I've always admired what you do. I like what you do, and I feel like, you know, we all have something special that we can bring to the table. But it's just like I have expectations of myself to do something else. And not even in contrast to all you guys that are on this call, I just like, I know what I want myself. You know, I'm 42 years old. I'm a grown woman. So it's like, you know,
You're 42.
So, you know, it's like, I want to.
You're a grown woman?
I'm a grown woman, Mark.
Man, somebody ate their vitamin gummies.
You know that we're grown. Look, we're the grown ones. I don't know how old Dustin is, but
I'm only 34.
Oh,
I didn't think you were in your 40s yet, though.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
I don't know. I always figure I'm just like a big 10-year-old.
Mark's a big kid now.
Yes, you are. I agree. But yeah, I just wanted to leave a different kind of mark. That's what I want. And I definitely, you know, first and foremost, I did this for other women drivers, and you know, the guys came and the guys are here and they listen to what I have to say. But for the most part, my core audience and who I create content for is for other women.
Yeah, my mom likes you better than she likes me on these things
you
anyway.
Keep saying that.
So the positivity must be working on some level.
Well, women do outnumber.
Well, I have to admit, I'm
but
just here for the women too, but it doesn't work.
What's that? What'd you say?
I said, I'm just here for the women too, but it doesn't work.
Well, anyway, Mark, anyway, actually, before we move on to you, Mark, so Cecily, since you've been having like a little bit of a hiatus on your channel, what are your future plans for the channel in 2019? Are we going to see a return, or is the hiatus going to continue indefinitely?
So the hiatus. So I have decided that the hiatus will not continue, and that's a good thing, because there was a time where I was like, maybe this is it. I don't know, but I still feel a need and a desire to still be out there. And y'all would not believe that I've had so many companies and people come at me and say, hey, we want you to endorse this. We want you to talk to the CEO. We want you to see what we're doing and share this with your audience. Like, I've gotten more, I've been approached more by companies to do co-branding things than ever before. And so I still feel like there's still something good that I can provide, but at the same
jump
time,
on that.
Hey, hello. But at the same time, I don't want to sell out. Okay. I want to make sure that I qualify the source. You know, I've never been thirsty. I'm not going to start being that now. So I feel like that my role in what we're doing is changing. You know, it's still the same thing of like, you know, entrepreneurship and that sort of thing. But it's like, we never set out to stay in these places to do these kinds of jobs. This is transitional, guys. It's transitional. And
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't even expect to be.
I think it's extra for entertainment.
It's whatever, but it's not it's not a career.
No, definitely not.
It's not a career, and I won't even dare approach it that way. And so whatever I provide is gonna support those ideals. Like, you know what? I support entrepreneurship. This is how you can make extra money. This is how you can get your feet wet in starting a business if you want to try. And you know, and all things included. And you know, being that I hit 10,000 subscribers, we have a YouTube. Thank you. Okay, we have a YouTube space here in LA, so it's like I'm able to go to use their facility and use their spaces, interview people, and just do more stuff that I was doing. That, you know, like some of the stuff I did on a small scale, I can do it with greater production value, and so I'm more interested in that. It's still gonna be serving the target audience I have and the subscribers that I have and whoever else that wants to come and follow me. But I want to be able to bring true value, because they can tell. They'll know when you're full of shit. They know when you're just creating videos just to get views and get money. You know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's good videos.
That's true, but if I'm not connecting with my audience the way that I did before, I don't expect for them to sit there and show up and to take the time more. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. Going live is not a problem, and even people showing up isn't a problem. I'm entertaining. I've been working in entertainment since I was a kid, so I can sit here and talk about toenails all day, and people will sit there and show up for that. But the thing is I don't want to waste your time. You came here for a reason, and I want to give you what you want. So.
All right. So anyway, Mark, let's move on to you. How do you think your channel's been the last year, and what changes, if any, are you going to make in the future?
Well, I was just kind of reviewing. My channel's just a little over 2 years old now, and it really has taken some different paths that I didn't expect. Because the truth is, how many Uber hints can you offer after 2 years?
And how long can you use the name?
That's when you got to throw in the lift hints.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me any, as long as it never becomes trip hints. And I'm sure we can talk about that too.
That's funny.
But
I'll wait.
I
I've
don't
had people
really
send me the apps already, so the apps are out there.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan for a bunch of reasons that if that topic comes up, we can certainly discuss it. But as far as the channel, I've never really planned a direction. I still go with the philosophy that I started with, that I'm not the expert. I just open a forum and, I interact. I respond to what people write. I don't always, I give my opinion. That's all I do on my channel, and I'll probably do that forever, because it's the only thing I can say that I know is right is my opinion.
And you're also been spending more time on the Average Me channel, I know.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm spending more time there, but I'm trying to post more regularly at the Average Me channel. Quite frankly, I have more fun there.
Wow. Yeah.
No, I do. So I'm always trying to bring my Uber people over there, because I like the people from Uber Hints, but I like the content at Average Me. So if I could merge those together, I think that'd be really good. So the upshot is I don't have a planned direction. I take it as it comes, and I respond. It's kind of like you're in a game. If you're in a football game or a basketball game, you can't plan the whole game out. You plan the first 10 minutes, and after that, you have to respond to what's going on.
Right.
So that's the direction I'm heading.
All right. So Dustin, what about you, the guest co-host? We're still going to ask you, even though you're not going to be here next week.
Oh, well, man, I didn't know all that. I guess it was good to know now, right?
You know why you're not going to be here next week?
I assume because Mike will be back.
Because we're not going to have an episode next week.
Oh.
So, come on, Rick, I saw that coming.
Right.
You didn't see that coming?
I couldn't resist.
That's like that. Where's my Smackovich? There's my Smackovich.
Smackovich won't work. It's audio only.
You can feel it. You can still hear it. Ready? You're
hilarious.
All right, but anyway,
I want to bring more entertainment to my channel. Show people more of the videos where they actually can see like the actual real experience, at least up to a point, because with the new bylaws or whatever, you're not supposed to show too much dash cam footage or whatnot. So the best way to get around that for me is to have people send me their footage, so it's not my footage, so I can't really be but so mad at it.
Oh, that's clever.
And I'm doing real estate, or I'm at least trying to pass my state real estate test. I've already passed the class. Just got to finally pass this, and then try to add some of that to it, because then you can also show people, like, while you're doing Uber or Lyft, that's why I always tell them to promote whatever other side gigs you do. You know what I'm saying? If you sell T-shirts or vehicles, anything, just for people to know that you can also use this to your advantage. That's why when other people, the trolls and the haters are out there like, oh, you're just wasting your time and you're losing everything else, but they don't know what else you're doing. You know what I'm saying? When you're getting your hustle on, just because you're doing one product, you're still being able to potentially sell 4 different products, and while you're making money at the same time doing the one thing. So I'm just trying to bring all that, just something new and different. And then hopefully I can actually get some clients from driving around, because people ask me all the time, like, where's good neighborhoods to live, the schools and everything else. It'd be really cool if I could actually get some Uber or Lyft, oh, never mind, I can't say Lyft anymore.
No, you can't.
If I could get some Uber clients that want to, purchase a house, and then maybe they'll let me film them and stuff, like buying the new house, showing it all. Just something different, but at the same time, it's still semi-relevant because it's just another thing. Because I always say Uber, these gigs are just a stepping stone. They should be for part-time, extra money. And if you're bored, you want to have some fun or whatever. Because we all know going out there is like an adventure. You might as well just get on like, what are we gonna do today?
Yeah, well, and it is true that
happen?
Uber and Lyft are some of the best networking tools out
Yeah.
there. That's how I got a consultant job with Netflix for a little while.
Because you don't know who you're picking up. Whoever you pick up, that's why I say you got to be respectful to people that you pick up.
Yes.
While making sure they don't walk all over you at the same time. But you just never know who you're going to pick up, who they're connected to, and everything else. So you gotta, just stay professional and just do your thing. People like your charisma, your attitude, and everything else. You just never know where these things can go. But I figure, I know doing real estate, of course, I'll make a lot more money than just doing, Uber. But
yeah,
I just want to keep doing it all and have it all together and see if I can combine something, make something new. As they always say, the sky's the limit. It's a new year, new things, new opportunities. We'll just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. And also my channel's changed quite a bit because when I started doing this channel, I was, believe it or not, helping people how to do this full time. And then enough changed that I got to the point where it's like, well, I can't encourage people to do this full time anymore. Now I still kind of encourage people to some extent, get the referral, have a goal, but otherwise it's a stepping stone to something else. And even it's kind of funny how many Uber tours have even taken that position. Like even the simple driver, he did a video, top 10 reasons drivers fail. And one of the reasons was because people didn't realize this was a stepping stone. You don't drive forever. So I can understand that.
There are those markets out there that you can make really good, like I think like your market, San Francisco and stuff like that. I have people send me stuff where they've only driven like 40-hour period, and they made $1,500 to $2,000 without any referrals or anything. So that's pretty nice. Markets, but those are only very few. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I always like to make sure people realize when you're seeing what everybody else is making, it's not your market. The cost of living and everything else is different. You can't compare what you do to what somebody else does unless they're in your market.
You're not making that money in Tolleson, Arizona. That's for certain.
Yeah.
So as far as my channel, I mean, I'll probably keep this fairly brief because I've made videos, but people have been noticing the slow changes over the course of time. Not only do I not give too much Uber advice anymore, I kind of turned more into a news commentary and opinion channel. And even that, I'm starting to branch out. People have been noticing I've been talking about Netflix and CES and Amazon more recently. Now it's very and Shonen Jump, which it's interesting because I know some of like the longtime viewers. It's funny because they'll always like praise my Uber videos, and like the non-Uber videos come up and they like leave like a snarky comment like, "It is so boring. Go back to doing Uber." And it's like, guys, I think this topic has a shelf life. I don't know how much longer I can do this before even I start going like, yeah, dude, why are you still talking about this company if you hate them so much? So
at least they watched it though.
Yeah, oh yeah, they watched it. But I'm noticing that those views are starting to go up. I mean, I think my last Netflix video and the CES video got over 500 views, which some people are like, well, that's not much. It's like, yeah, but there was one point where the Uber videos were only like 500 views, and now they get on average thousands of views. So you got to start somewhere. And of course, again, we're not ending the podcast. We're not ending Uber videos. I mean, it is called the Apptrepreneur, so I can talk about it as long as it's got an app. And Uber is still by far one of the most newsworthy apps out there.
Right.
For a myriad of different reasons, they are still the most newsworthy out there. But I've been, yeah, good. Well,
Kevin, you're the only one that can talk about it because 10% of your audience doesn't know how to say Apptrepreneur.
Including me. I still have a hard time saying it.
You couldn't say it. Uberman couldn't say it. Every time he has a guest on his channel, they can't say the name.
The Apptrepreneur.
I've got like a little speech impediment, and that I always get nervous before I say your channel name. I hate it like every time, and I know I know
Kevin the app guy.
You know what's even more? It's such a unique name. It slips up the autocorrect on the Google search bar.
Oh, every time I try to look for it, it says, "Do you mean entrepreneur?"
Hilarious.
Yeah, entrepreneur.
But you know what? I kind of take that almost as a compliment because it's like, okay, my channel is clearly not easy to find because of that silly name that I picked, and yet I have over 10,000 subscribers and I got millions of views. And how many
We got
hours?
60 people watching. We need some more likes up here. Come on, people, hit that like.
Yeah, give us some likes. And by the way, people, we will be doing a Q&A at the end of this episode. So for those of you who are saying, like, are you even reading? Well, Mike, the guy who usually reads this stuff, he's not here today.
I know.
So we have to set
I saw
up
a couple questions in there that I thought I saw.
Yeah,
one or two that were good.
Yeah, but we will take those questions at the end of the show. So then we'll pay a little bit more attention, and it just to prove that we are paying attention. Yeah, Jordan, I see that shade you're throwing me. I see that shade.
We're
Wait a
still
minute.
texting in
Wait
the
a minute,
chat
who's
as well.
throwing shade?
I could drop the ban hammer, but I won't because
Who-
I.
Who is it? Who is it?
Oh, Jordan Patterson, I think. So
Okay.
he's
don't
funny.
worry. Don't worry. I laughed. I thought the shade was funny myself. So
Okay.
anyway,
Said about time Dustin adds entertainment to his channel.
so,
He's funny.
yeah,
He's a good guy.
I don't disagree with him. I don't disagree. I don't think I'm that entertaining, to be honest. But
Oh, there's ways to be complimentary. I think Dustin, you've brightened our day thus far. I think you're awesome. I hope you do come back. Not next week, but another time when we're all together.
What do you guys always do? Once a month?
yeah, Cecily usually doesn't show up once in a while. So
Yeah. I've already got in my mind. I'm like, look, if I don't show up, Dustin can be my alternate.
There you go. I am the stand-in for everybody. I'm on
Hey,
standby.
and you're the go-to guy, not the stand-in, the go-to guy.
actually,
Soon when I figure it out, I'm gonna have everybody come on my channel as well.
Hey,
actually, technically, your personal driver is our permanent temporary co-host, but he said no
Aaron.
today. So
Oh, he did. Oh, I do. I love Aaron.
surprised.
I think Aaron's cool.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised Aaron said no.
dealing with a new move and all that jazz. So
Oh, I thought he was done. Did you see his video? He was doing the.
I did.
passenger-
He still hasn't sent me that video clip that I need for the 10,000 video cell. Well, neither have you, Dustin, for that matter. But
Yeah, I was gonna say I still need to make that.
Cecily sent it, but had a hard drive crash, and so now
Did you get it? You need another. You need it again?
I again would be nice.
No,
So-
we don't need you to ban him, Nom. He's good.
Yeah, no. We were joking. No, don't ban Jordan. We were just joking.
Yeah,
So
please don't set me off because I'm looking now. I'm reading like, wait a minute, who needs to get shut down real quick?
yeah. No. Geez, everyone takes things so seriously these
Well,
days.
I do. I don't allow anybody to mess with my people, so I'm already on it. I'm on it. Who do we need to ban?
We don't need to ban anyone right now.
Okay.
So
All right.
anyway, so we've been having fun, but now that we've had fun, let's talk about something serious, and let's see how much we can talk about this without getting political. But there's a government shutdown going on, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you are personally affected by this, but needless to say, whether you're agreeing with the president or you're agreeing with Pelosi and Schumer, there are people that are definitely being hurt by this. And one of the things that is going on is that a lot of people who have federal jobs who are not sure when their next paycheck is going to be. And by the way, I understand that they're going to get back pay. That's not the issue. The thing is, yeah, the back pay is nice when you get it, but when you're not getting a check for your rent and stuff, it gets really stressful. So they're turning to Uber and Lyft to make money,
but they're down to it at the same time.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
are we
so
acting
I gotta
like this
lower
is
my
brand new?
standards
This
to
happens
drive a
every
car.
year.
It does. Well, it does happen every year, but this is the first time I actually remember seeing articles for it, and I don't know why it's the first time. Heck, there are people who
know
do
why,
even
because
when the
Trump
government.
is good ink.
Let Mark talk. Go ahead.
That's
Oh, go
why.
ahead.
It's because Trump is good ink. That's the only reason. It wouldn't have been so interesting under Obama or Bush.
You're
That's
right.
the only
You're
reason.
right.
You're probably right. You're probably right. I mean,
These things have gone on for months and months before in my lifetime. It really, I mean, not to say that it's not a good situation or that anyone should be okay with it, but this is nothing new.
No, it's not. But well, the media is acting like it's something new. So let's discuss, like, what What should the government workers, if they've never done this before, expect? Is there any advice we can give them, and is there even any shame in doing it? Dustin, let's start with you. I got to start with you at some point.
I saw an article earlier that had a video with, I guess, 4 different guys that were like the heads of their departments, I guess, for like a prison and stuff. And they were sitting there complaining that they had to lower their, chalk their pride up and go drive for Uber to try to make supplement income because they were mad about the government shutdown. But they didn't know what they were doing at all. So I had to make sure I shared my YouTube channel in their thing. Hopefully
That's
maybe they can
funny.
get some tips.
That's
And-
hysterical.
Yeah, they were acting like, they can't make any money or do anything else. So I guess Uber is the thing to do when you have nothing else to do. But you didn't see them like trying to badmouth saying, oh, I'm going to get a night shift at McDonald's or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, well, in all fairness, the night shift at McDonald's would require applying for the job, then you have to do an interview, and then they got to call back, and then you're on their schedule. It is incredibly convenient that Uber and Lyft put you on pretty quickly, and then you can do it whenever you need to.
But here's the thing, not for everyone. I know tons of folks that have had to wait a week or 2 just for the Uber background check to even go through.
3 weeks for me. It was 3 weeks for both.
And it was same for me. It was 2 weeks. This past week, they put me through another one, and this is the fastest background check I went through. It was 48 hours. But prior, it was. I feel like it was 2 weeks the first time. It was about a week the second time. So I don't see this as being one of the fastest ways of getting money. But to be honest with you, most of America,
it's the quickest, easiest.
Well, what I was going to say is that most people who have careers or they have jobs, long-term jobs, don't know where to turn when it comes down to like, you've lost your job. Y'all need to eat. What do you do next? Most people don't really have that. Oh, well, this is what I do. Exactly. Most folks don't hustle. They don't know how to. And I do think that these gig economy jobs are the next best thing to starving and becoming homeless. No, I'm just saying that these are the things that I feel like people are much more interested in. And driving here in Los Angeles, I have met, driving and riding, because y'all know that I do use Uber and Lyft, that a lot of people have full-time jobs, a lot of people have other careers, and they just like the freedom of being able to make additional money. And so if there are any folks who need something right now, and especially if you don't have any, you have a clean criminal record, and a car that will pass the inspection, I do think that it's a way for you to at least to get some money for like those quick expenses like food and paying for utilities and things like that.
I gotta say, Dark Red Run's comment says Trip is building a rideshare company and will make Uber pay for it.
Trip.
Yeah, we're trying. Well, I get the joke, but we're trying to avoid that. What do you think about all this, Mark?
Well, first of all, we're talking about federal workers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to have to learn that if they drive for Uber, they're actually going to have to work.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
Mark, you're not helping.
We need sound
Hey, you're
effects.
talking to a guy who spent half his life in an airport, and you get TSA people that, I haven't got paid in 7 days, so they're quitting their job already. So I don't have a whole lot of respect for people with that kind of work ethic.
Hilarious.
People who have made a pledge to look out for the well-being and the security of our nation. So I just don't have a lot of sympathy. It's just the way it is. But I think, for me, it's kind of tough. And Cecily, you're in the same boat as I am, Dustin. I don't know what your background is, but Cecily, you and I have always worked things kind of on the peripheral of society, if you know what I mean. Not that we're, I don't mean that we're in the black market, or anything.
I'm about to say, you're gonna do this right now in front of everybody.
But you know what I mean. We always have 3 or 4 things going on.
Absolutely,
and if one thing drops to the side, well, we have that, that other pathway.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people don't live that way. My personal philosophy has always been, if I take a regular job, people think that's security, but it's not. You're only relying on that company.
No.
I would rather rely on myself.
Right.
I would rather rely on myself.
Yeah.
And it's great that Uber is there, but people have to realize that, it's still up to them. And when people get so angry at Uber and say, well, Uber doesn't do this, doesn't do that, you got to learn how to work within the system. That's part of the fun of it, is playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people miss out on that. So, if they're going to jump into it to try to make a few extra bucks, I mean, good for them, but I kind of suspect they're going to fail, and they're going to be just as miserable doing that as they are doing anything else, because it's not about the particular job that you do. It's about the attitude that you have when you approach that work.
Not to mention, of course, they're going to definitely say, well, I'm not making what I was making. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the main thing right there. Everyone always tries to compare. It's like, well, that job's beneath me because I'm going to be making, $10, $15 an hour as opposed to my 25, 30.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Well, that's part of the thing also. Well, and also in defense of the TSA people, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, when you were asking me about my background and everything, Mark, I had my own company a couple of years ago, Dustin's All Around Services, where I did crawl space repairs and HVAC and everything. You know what I mean? And like landscaping. So I made sure I was diversified. So that way, no matter what, like you said, I'd rather depend on myself than somebody else. Plus my wife's awesome. Works for an insurance company. So that's a good backup plan.
Yeah, it is. Nice little net for you guys.
Yeah. Of course we have too many kids, but it is what it is.
Well, I agree with all of that. I also agree that there's no security because, I mean, remember when everyone thought, I remember people who, like 25 years ago, like one of my uncles, he got like to be a manager at Sears, and he's like, well, I'm set for life. And it's like, oh, really?
And the Ford plants, the plants, all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, as for the TSA people taking sick leave, which I have been reading about, some of that is probably a little bit more practical than we want to admit. Like, I mean, they need babysitters and they can't afford them now. Well, that creates
or they get paid sick leave, don't they?
Yeah. Well, they're not getting paid sick leave at the moment, but I mean,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, they will eventually get paid, but they won't get marked because a lot of people are still essential. So that's why people are getting mad, because the government that shut down, like a lot of them don't have to go, but then a lot do still have to go in and work and not get paid. And who wants to do that? Nobody likes working for free.
Yeah.
No, that's why I don't do Uber very often.
But like Kevin said, they're getting paid. It's just going to be delayed. They'll get big paychecks. And people, if you cannot live 2 or 3 weeks without your paycheck, you are not handling your finance.
You sure are.
Well, one of the things that I try to do, this is just a general life advice, but it's good to have a couple months worth of savings in case of a rainy day. Like, here's the thing. Some people don't remember, like, does anyone here know what the story behind the phrase save for a rainy day means? Just out of curiosity.
There's an actual story.
There's a story. There's a reason we have that saying.
It's just a good phrase.
Okay. The origin of that phrase dated.
That was the before you say it, I'm going to say that was the in the 20s when everything crashed.
No.
Okay.
No. It actually dates back in some of these places with carpenters, where carpenters would work outside. But when it rained, the carpenter couldn't work, and you didn't know when the rain was going to stop. So the carpenters would tell each other, make sure to save for a rainy day.
Jesus was a carpenter, and he just walked on the water.
And when he got thirsty, he just turned it to wine.
Yeah. So the first advice, and it's interesting that so many federal workers don't appear to have this, is to have a few months of your finances saved on the off chance, the government to get shut down, whether it's justified to be shut down or not. I'm not actually picking a side on this one, but you need to have that money saved. And so their first mistake is that they didn't have it. So now they're turning to Uber in desperation. And the problem with turning to Uber in desperation is that if you go to some of these message boards, like these Facebook message boards, including, Dustin's, to be honest, you will see some federal workers saying, I need to get into Uber. I've signed up. What do I do? And it was kind of amazing how many people, when the first thing I said was, well, whose referral code did you use? And it's like, what do you mean? And it's like, you're not even looking at the basic, like you need desperate money, like sign up for the referral code to get a bonus $500, and they don't.
Well, none of them are that high anymore.
No, I'm saying where is it?
90% of them.
Actually, mine right now says 400. So
yeah, but right now it seems
because
all
we
new
live.
drivers are just getting guarantees. They're not getting bonuses any longer.
Yeah,
some of them are only
getting guaranteed. There is still 10% that are extra, but it's
actually
only
LA's going to give you the best amount. I feel like for the most part across the
LA
board.
and New
It changes, but still, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so they're not signing up for the referrals. They're not looking up our videos, any of our videos, which are online. They just sign up, and it's like, okay, I'm going to start driving and making money. And I mean, I even remember like the first time,
like we all did when we started.
well, I remember when I first started, and I'd always like. Not that this is a bad way to do it, because you know what, it's the most convenient way to turn on the app at your house and wait for the first ping. But then at the same time, if I drive like a few miles to the downtown area, which is like 10 minutes away, and I turn it on there, I'll get it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I'm at home, I might be waiting a half hour or more to get it. So they're not doing the research. They think this is going to be like an easy way to solve their problem. And maybe the car depreciation won't bother them much.
They won't be driving that long.
Yeah. Well, we hope. Well, we hope they won't be
quitting
driving that long.
They really won't.
I don't know. I mean, right now it's like I kind of watch the whole thing unfold, and I listen to like the three main talking heads on the TV, and I kind of feel like the Joker as I watch them, and I go like, this is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
I have an idea. Why don't we take all the federal workers that want a job and put them to work building the wall?
Ooh,
that part.
But they still won't get paid.
Hysterical and sad. So sad.
I'd ask Jeff Bezos to hire them for Amazon workers, but he's getting a divorce today, and he's probably going to lose that title of richest man in the world, which, in all seriousness, as much as I hate your company, Jeff, that's probably a really rotten feeling, so I'm sorry that's happening.
Oh, yeah, his wife's taking half of that stuff.
Oh yeah, she's that's going to... But
not more, so then she'll be the richest woman in the world.
You know what, personally, I think it's interesting that they're all turning to Uber and Lyft, which... it's ironic especially because it's like they're going to turn to Uber and Lyft, which is like, yeah, that's a high maintenance, stressful job, except you get in trouble for talking back to the customers. So maybe that's not what you want to do. Maybe you want to do Postmates and DoorDash where the food doesn't talk back.
That's why I was saying, like, they didn't like the whole money thing, because they're going to act entitled. They are. And then when someone asks them the 5, top questions that all drivers get asked all the time, they're going to give some smart remarks, and probably get a lot of 1-stars.
Right, and they'll get deactivated fast. I mean, granted, it should be noted, folks, that Uber typically lets you have the first 100 rides where the star rating doesn't matter, because you need to start somewhere. But I'm still thinking that if you
below a 4.5 in that 100, if you drop below a 4.5, yeah, you will get kicked.
Oh, geez, that's new, because I remember when I started, I got as low as 4.0 when I first started driving. Wow. But it didn't stay that way for long, though, because
Uber,
I did like
Uber
3
months. I don't believe Uber will kick you off when you hit that if they need you. It's like anything else.
Yeah,
Uber has the slippery language where they say if you hit 4.5, you're at risk. They say you're at risk to get kicked off the platform, to be deactivated.
Plus, they let you take.
You're only at risk if they don't need drivers in your area. If they need drivers, you could drop down to a 1.2 and they'd keep you.
I still remember. In hindsight, I almost wish I had accepted this, because now I am really curious to see what this looks like. But I remember when I first started, I got a call, and it was from a rider with 1 star. I think that was the only time it happened, and it's like, in hindsight, I'm kind of curious, what does a 1-star rider actually look like? But
I've seen a 3.
I just let it pass.
I've never seen a 1.
It's the only time I saw 1. Granted, this was like 4 years ago, so
Well, the reason you guys haven't seen one is you made me turn off my camera earlier.
Hilarious.
Took me a second. Took me a second.
I love it.
All right. So anyway, as we wrap this discussion up, I guess the last question I want to ask about these federal workers driving Uber and Lyft is, how long do you think it's going to last? And do you think they're going to get kicked off? Do you think they're going to quit out of frustration?
They're going to quit out of frustration, hands down.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that the people that really do need it, are going to do what they need to do, and when their jobs or the pay is reinstated, they'll probably just go back to their regular lives. Yeah, because I'm thinking, like, being a mom and having to hold things down and not wanting my family to suffer if I had to do it, which is what my whole having to do these kinds of jobs really entailed, and other things that I do outside of this is really about just surviving and making sure my kids are comfortable. So I'll do what I have to do, and then once a better opportunity presents itself, I'm there. You go where the money is, period.
Go with the flow.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have time to get frustrated, because I think they're going to solve this.
No, it's going to happen soon.
I mean, if they get frustrated in that short a time, it's just going to reinforce everything I thought about federal employees, quite frankly.
Yeah, well, just for the record, almost everyone, like, they're not everyone, but a couple people here and there, but almost all of them said that they're going to quit in frustration, and I frankly think that's true, because here's the ironic thing: is, like, I bet you a lot of these federal workers probably take Uber and Lyft to work every day. They see how much they're paying them, and yet they think that this is a great paying job. Still, they're going to find out really fast, like, oh wait, you mean I'm only getting half of that? Well, that sucks.
They're already frustrated about what's going down and why they're not getting paid. So this on top of it, and dealing with some entitled passengers, which is probably them at times, yeah, they're going to quit out of frustration. But I like Drive Girl Drive said, though, the whole fact of you're going to definitely have to do what you got to do to make it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You have kids and everything else. You have to support them by any means necessary.
And I want to make it clear, we're not looking down on people who have to do this to provide for their kids. Hey, we actually respect, I think we all respect
definitely
people have to do what they have to do sometimes.
This is what, like, my channel is all about, Uber and stuff. So no, I don't look down on anybody. I encourage everybody to do this part-time. I mean, in times like this is a time of need where you have to do it full-time into a transition back to your normal job.
Yeah.
Right.
You always got to applaud honest work.
Yep. Well, since we've talked about that fun little topic, let's talk about the market crash. Seriously, folks, we're going to talk about the stock market crashing, if only for this reason. There are some major tech companies that are going to be launching IPOs relatively soon. Companies like Pinterest, I know, we're going to be filing, but also so are Uber and Lyft. And so now it's time to discuss, do you think the stock market, where the stock market currently is, do you think that's going to affect their abilities to get a good IPO? Are any of us going to be investing? Are they even good investments in the first place? Because technically, at least on paper, neither Uber or Lyft have made any money, although Lyft seems way closer to profitability than Uber is. But so first of all, hey, anyone in this, I buy stocks. Does anyone else in this podcast buy stocks?
I don't buy stocks. I have some Bitcoin, or not actual Bitcoin, the other couple of coins that are out there. But
cryptocurrency, okay.
I have some crypto. I do not have any stocks.
Okay.
My wife has stocks, but that's because they come with a job.
Mark, do you buy stocks?
Yeah, I have investments. Okay, I was going to make a really bad off-color joke about stocks and bonds, so you better stop me before I have my fifth olive.
Okay, yeah, no, don't.
Do it.
We don't want to get demonetized, or at least I don't.
As long as it's a good joke, you know what I mean. You could like bleep.
Okay, Mark, is it a joke that's worth getting demonetized over?
No, it's not. It's not even worth pursuing.
Okay, there we go.
Those people with active creative imaginations will know where I was going. But
that means it's a good joke.
Since we're talking about this, the Dow is up like 90%.
Oh shoot! I think I just realized where you're going to go with it. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Hilarious.
That was to be expected when the Fed raised interest rates, and there's always a drop and there's always an adjustment. And I don't think it's a big deal. If you're a person that's in there, for the short term, yeah, but most of us, I think that invest, we're investing for
long
long-term
run.
retirement type things, and it's going to make an adjustment. It always does.
Right. I mean, even Apple took a hit fairly recently, so, and these things just go up and down. But the big question, like, is it worth investing in Uber and Lyft when the company doesn't make money? And is there a road to profitability? And by the way, it's going to be fun because I saw a video where Mark sees a way for Uber to be extremely profitable, and I actually kind of disagree with him on that. So it's going to be fun to discuss that. Since, Mark, you do buy some stocks, would you buy any Uber or Lyft stock?
Not on a bet. The only people that are going to make money are the people that own shares in Uber right now. They're going to make a lot of money. But I just can't see it. I can't see. And of course, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the advertising
Right.
Perspective on this. But I just see a company, I understand companies have growth. But 9 years of growth, at some point you have to start turning a profit. And I don't see how they can do it unless they stop investing in everything. They stop investing in their foolhardy flying cars, and they stop investing in their self-driving cars, which, by the way, are proving to be a lot further out than they said it was years ago.
It was just another accident, actually, a couple days ago, I think.
Well, I hope you're not talking about the robot, because I think Kevin wants to talk about that one too in a bit. But I just don't think there's a lot of money to be made. The only way you can make money, short of stopping all those investments, in all that research and development, either raise rates on rides or lower rates on drivers, because we are their only income stream right now. And so that's the only way you can do it, unless you take a completely different tack like advertising.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they could also raise the prices, but then, the problem comes. I've always kind of seen like Uber and Lyft in this big game of chicken for years. Like, they know that.
That's what I said, raise rates or lower driver pay. Well, they have to do both,
Right. Well, they definitely lowered the driver pay a little bit, which, lost them another third of their drivers. They will not raise the rates because, again, that game of chicken. Like, if one raises, then everyone will go to the others. But it's like, yeah, but you're both losing money as it is. So almost, what does it matter? It's kind of like when you go to a retail store and someone goes up to the person and they say, hold up an item, and it's like, how much is this? It's like, oh, it's this much money. And they're like, well, Amazon charges this much for it. Can you price match it? And it's like, no. And it's like, well, I'll buy it on Amazon then. It's like, well, Amazon's not making money off that item, and neither am I if I price match it. So what do I gain out of doing it? Like, I kind of wonder if Uber and Lyft realize they're in that situation where it's like, I know you're trying to keep the rates low and nobody wants to be the one to raise it, but you're both losing money as it is under it. So you want to stop the charade at this point.
But, I mean, somebody's making money. All the money that's being spent, somebody's making something.
Yeah. Well, that's why
when he was saying about the autonomous vehicles and everything, eventually that will be the way. You know what I'm saying? We all know that. It might not be in my
Oh my
lifetime,
God. Hey,
eventually.
there's a good bridge over there in New York I'd like to sell you.
You really don't think so, Mark?
Oh, God, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
There might be.
I said this a long time ago. Who's going to be the first politician that is going to allow self-driving cars until someone dies? And then it happens in Tempe. Yes, it is pronounced Tempe. And look how quickly that governor backed off from Uber.
Yep, Governor Douchey. I know that's not
true.
his actual name, but
yes, I know.
You know what I mean? It was way too early for them to even introduce it. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like another 30, 40 years or something, I think it will be something like that.
Yeah.
I hope
yeah.
still be alive. No matter what, my kids
they're saying it's going to be launched in 2 years in Dallas.
Oh, hell no. I don't believe that at all.
So apparently the flying car, which I made a video about today, that's going to launch next year. And I looked at that thing, and that's like bigger than most helicopters. It's like, yeah, I don't see this thing actually.
Yeah, airspace alone, they're not going to allow that to happen.
Well, and they're going to do it at the same rate as Uber X. Remember when they were saying that?
Oh yeah, funny. Well, anyway, Cecilia, would you invest? This is getting off topic fast. Would you invest in Uber or Lyft?
I would invest in Lyft.
Oh, okay. You'd invest in Lyft, but not Uber.
I just said I would invest in Lyft.
I'll invest in Uber, not Lyft.
Okay, so what's
what
your
did
thinking
you
behind?
what did you hear? What did you hear? I just
So,
just
so
in talking.
Hey, someone just signed up to drive on my referral code.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, it's
2 of mine just started.
hysterical.
that's funny. So Cecily, what's your reasoning for investing in Lyft?
I just, folks that drive for Lyft just have so many awesome things to say. And I feel like what Mark said before, that that the drivers really are the ones who really make the money. They really are the driving force of these companies. And I feel like Lyft does a better job in taking care of their drivers. And so if I want to support a company holistically and invest in that sort of thing, I would put my money there.
You
That's
do
all.
realize I got deactivated for a false report, right?
I don't know your story, Dustin. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
And we
People
could
got
rally, and we what the power of social media. I'm sure we could turn that around. We really could if we wanted to.
Oh yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah,
it
could happen.
But they're only like 5% of the rides here where I'm at, so I wasn't even pressed.
Yeah, well, also it's kind of a weird thing. Someone, we kind of wondered, like, why aren't UberTuber channels a lot bigger considering how many people drive for these things, and yet the highest ones hit like 15,000 or something. It's like it's really not that big. So I've got, obviously we're getting a lot of everyone hates Lyft comments.
Harry's just got like 35,000, doesn't he?
It's taken a while for him to get there, to knowing that how much, but I'm pretty sure that he gets, I mean, as far as his blog goes, his blogging probably gets a lot of hits.
Oh, his blogs were his bread and butter. He's not, he doesn't even consider himself a YouTuber, to be honest.
Yeah, I could sense that. I definitely sense that.
So and then like the simple driver, like his little whole dirty secret is that he sells a bunch of how-to videos and they're privated, and you have to.
Woo! The shade is so real today.
No, that's not shade. That's how he got all those subscribers.
I got you. Yeah.
Really, I think the only Uber guy that got so many subscribers was Drive with Pete. Is it?
Really?
Right. Yeah, Drive with Pete, but he's
but it's because but it's because he does candid camera style videos where people.
No, he does the food things like Uber Eats, Grubhub, and other things. He doesn't really do driving people for Uber.
Okay.
He's the food side of everything.
Right. So anyway, Dustin, would you invest in either Uber or Lyft?
Yeah, I'd invest in Uber because eventually it's gonna, like I said, like Mark was saying, for the long game and everything, eventually it's going to make money. And since it was the biggest company, I don't see anybody else taking them over. If anything, Uber and Lyft might merge one day to become something else. You know what I mean? But I don't really see anything else out there at this point, that's legit and live that is going to actually be able to, compete with them. But eventually, I'm saying the stocks, I wouldn't buy a whole lot, but I'd buy a little bit just to hold on to, just see what happens. Just same like I did with the Bitcoin stuff. Just to get a little bit, see what happens. Mm-hmm. My expectations, I don't expect it to go like, oh, I'm going to be rich in like 5-10 years. No, I don't expect any of that. But it just be something to play with. And you can always hope. That's what everything is. We hope every day is going to be better than the last. So, but yeah, I wouldn't go with Lyft just because what they did to me. So,
yeah. Well, you see, my stock buying is a little different strategy. I typically buy stocks that are from companies that don't seem like they're going away anytime soon and that pay dividends. So, I've got a lot of Disney and Google, and that's actually one of the reasons I sold my Apple stock, was because they didn't pay dividends, and I bought a bunch of stocks that do pay dividends. And even though the Apple stocks did definitely grow a lot bigger at one point, those other stocks have made me more money. But I will say I will invest in both companies. Not a lot, but I'm going to invest in both companies for one very, I don't know if this is like a petty reason or not, but basically I want to invest in both companies just so I could say, you see, jerks, I'm invested in both the companies, so I have every right to complain about them. Otherwise, though, I am highly dubious that either of them are going to be profitable. They are investing in ventures that, yeah, maybe in 30 years the self-driving cars become a thing, but that's a long term gamble. And considering what I know about the self-driving cars, that really only one company can be making them from to talk to each other. I don't think it's going to be Uber or Lyft. It's going to be like Google or something that makes them.
That's possible.
And I think like the scooters and the bikes are fairly terrible investments. And I know Mark brought up the advertising, but you know what? Advertising doesn't save everybody. I mean, MoviePass was going to pay for their whole thing by selling data from people watching the movies and their movie viewing habits, and nobody wanted it. So
really,
everybody sells data. Selling data. I mean, everyone does that.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing. Like, well, you don't want, like, what is Uber going to bring to the table then that makes the data worthwhile to other people?
I think they bring a lot to the table. What they bring to the table is immediate. They can target that advertising better than advertising has ever been targeted, because if they know that you're going, for example, to be dropped off in a certain part of the downtown area, their app can start going to work, and it can start putting up 2 or 3 restaurants within a 3-block radius. It can start putting up some bars in that area. It can do so many things that are just hyper, laser targeted. And up to this point, even with the information we have with advertising, how many times you watch a YouTube video and then some weird crap comes up and you wonder, how in the world did that video get into my feed?
Right.
But with this, they're going to be advertising based on where they know you are going, not just on patterns, but where they know you are this very moment, this very evening. And I think that could make all the difference if they were smart enough to jump on it.
I agree with that. I agree with Mark there.
It's possible. Maybe that's possible. Although if you're talking about like a 3-block radius, then I don't know anyone who would actually pay Uber to advertise it when they can just see it when they get off the ride.
Well, that's an example. I'm saying they know where you are. And how many times you've been somewhere and say, "Oh, where should we go tonight?" I don't know. Yeah, you're familiar with this area? No, not really. Now they see on their Uber app, boom, boom, boom. This stuff is popping up, and hey, let's go to Fred nightclub or whatever. It's right around the corner. I never heard of it before. Let's try it out. That is their advantage. You ask the advantage. The advantage is they know where you are now.
Well, so do so many other apps, and they were never able to get that data to be useful. One of our viewer, Jordan, who we briefly joked about banning him earlier, he said something really interesting. So after putting him through the grinder, I think we should definitely bring up this point. He said, investing in a company that doesn't have any assets to liquidate and relies on huge cash flow isn't smart.
Okay.
Which I agree with, because I mean that is one of the problems with Uber. They don't have anything to liquidate. Yeah. So what if that does mean they could be one of those companies that, they launch, they go public, and if they go bankrupt, there's an office there, but there's nothing really of value there. It's nothing tangible. So I think it's just kind of interesting that as Mark said, there was 9 years of growth and they never made profit. And it's like, and actually companies are getting slammed now for the lack of growth. I mean, Netflix, Facebook, and Amazon have all seen their stocks like dip half or more, even Apple, because it's like they're not growing anymore. And in a couple of these companies' cases, they don't make money either. So it's like, but yeah,
Facebook does. Facebook's got to make money.
Facebook makes.
Oh, I know Facebook makes money.
Facebook makes money. Amazon does.
To advertise too.
Yeah, well, Amazon does.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Amazon and Netflix don't make money. Actually, those are the companies I was referring to. But the thing with all these companies is that, the growth is going to be a problem, because do you know anyone who doesn't have a Facebook account? Do you know anyone who doesn't have a Netflix account? Do you know anyone that Okay,
Yeah.
I know I willingly don't use Amazon, but you know anyone who like is aware of the company who doesn't use it aside from me? Probably not. So you get to the point where it's like growth just isn't
You want
going
to
to be
invest
there.
in stuff? The best thing I would think now I'm thinking about too is water. Everything and everywhere needs water.
Well, it's funny you should mention water because have any of you guys seen The Big Short?
That's why I'm talking about too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
The
water,
Big Short has that kind of.
Yeah,
The Big Short has that really
research on it,
interesting
too.
ending where one of the guys who predicted the housing market was going to collapse and invested all of his money into it and came out a champ. They revealed at the end that he only invests in one thing now, and that's water.
And
it's like,
and speaking of that too, where everything crashed, that's why people need to have at least some kind of like a 3-month cushion. When we were talking about that earlier,
right?
Having savings for 3 months at least.
Yeah, I have someone who's into the real estate business who, and it's in California, and he says he's pretty sure it's only going to be in San Francisco, but he's expecting the housing market to crash in between March and June of this year.
Ooh.
It's definitely got to be there because here we're in a growth. That's why I can't wait to hurry up and pass and get into it.
Yeah, but it's also interesting how like some markets affect other, except for Washington, D.C., where they have all the politicians who need to rent houses and apartments there. It's kind of interesting how like when one market crashes, then the other markets get spooked sometimes.
That is true.
Either way, I will probably, just to clarify my investment plans in Uber and Lyft, I'm probably going to buy 1 to 5 shares out of each company. It's not going to be a lot. It's just going to be enough so that I can rightfully gripe and complain about them whenever they do stupid stuff. But I'm not going to be spending a lot of money. I mean, if the shares get below $10 a share, then I might invest a little bit
like
more.
Like $100?
Yeah, like $100. Like I'd spend $100.
I think it's safer than Trip.
I'm trying to be neutral on Trip as I can, but I've got some very bad feelings. And some people like have asked me like, well, you just want Trip to fail? And it's like, no, it's not that. It's just I've lived through Juno. I've lived through Get. I've lived through Via. I've lived through Zipcar. I've lived through all these companies that I lived through Yay Driver. Heck, I made the how to drive video for the Yay Driver app on their official website, and they didn't succeed. So it's kind of funny because it's like for a market that seems pretty easy to get into in the terms like, oh, you get the permits, you get the app, and you get the insurance, and that's all you need. It's very hard to convince people to give up Uber or Lyft. So yeah. By the way, we should say that I think Markin did invest in water today. He mixed it up with a little bit of scotch before he came.
Hysterical. Wow.
He invested for a night of fun.
Okay, so anyway, we're not going to talk about the Tesla robot now because I think we're running out of time. And we do want to have a Q&A for everyone, but we are also going to do a poll because since it's like a new year, new opportunities, we were actually discussing this before the episode started, and some people do say this, so keep an eye on my channel for this poll. It's going to probably launch tonight, but I'm going to take a poll. Would you guys like to see us do a couple podcast episodes, trial basis, of course, where you can visually see us? Yes or no? I will
Instead of pictures.
Instead of pictures, you can.
Here, let's ask the people that are watching right now. We got 50 watching.
Everybody, put a we're gonna do an official.
Want to see us.
We're gonna do an official poll about that. So keep an eye out for it. But since it's a new year, I'm willing to entertain the idea. So, and you can vote officially, and if enough people say yes, then we will give it a shot.
I'm gonna make a video that's just gonna be strictly saying everybody go vote to the Apptrepreneur on
Oh, go ahead and do that.
I'm gonna rig it. I'm gonna rig the system and like everyone vote.
Hilarious.
Does that mean I have to start wearing clothes when we do our podcast?
I might have to actually put some makeup on, do my hair. Ooh. Okay.
Everyone's gonna have to see my bad hair. Oh wait, I wear the beanie. That's right. Oh darn, I guess I'm gonna have to wear the beanie for that. Right.
We should all wear beanies.
Hey, that'll work.
It's
Yeah, you know, some of us don't have to worry about bad hair days.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's why I try to keep mine shaved.
But anyway, let's actually get into some Q&A. Does anyone have any?
Hold on, I had one question though. Has anybody
Okay.
heard anything else about New York City and the minimum wage thing? Has it gone into effect?
It's going into effect soon. Like I believe in the next week or two. I believe it's going into I have to call NYC Uber Vlog to see when that actually, because he actually drives
first.
Yeah, it might have even started. I'm interested in seeing some of those New York Uber tubers actually talk about what that's like for them.
Exactly.
So
because so many people say we should unionize. We need to be paid fair wages. They all want an actual dollar amount per hour, which they don't realize though. I mean, in doing it how it is now, you can make either way more or obviously way less.
Well,
they have a little bit more control over you too. There's no way they're going to come without stipulations. You know,
yeah,
but have to be logged in for a whole hour to actually get that amount of money.
Yeah, but Dustin, we've had this conversation here several times. This is where there's been some disagreement among us because I think ideally we'd all like to be independent contractors, but honestly, Uber's been treating us like employees for a very long time now in some of our
I agree. I want to be independent. I don't want to be I don't want the whole union thing. I honestly don't think it would go good because what if those certain people that got together decide to strike and don't do anything else or not work? Then you got to take the hit. That's why I ain't joining a union now.
Yep. So anyway, Michael, his question is, why does Uber CEO make so much money when the company isn't profitable?
Does anyone want to take this? He's got to take the hit. It's all his fault when things go wrong.
Well, that's sort of here's the thing, folks. Michael, the way that I understand it, because I was under the impression Travis Kalanick didn't get a paycheck; he got stock options. But Dara Karashahi, I hope I'm saying that right, it's only taken a year of practice. He was hired specifically to bring Uber public. He had a cushy job at Expedia, which makes a lot of money. They wanted him to come to this company to turn around their reputation, to bring the company public. And so I believe whatever some of the funds that they have raised and they are spending funds that they don't have, they pay him to do that. So he has a very specific job, and I believe that's why he's making money, even though the company isn't profitable. So that's
I could agree with that.
Yeah. Anyone have any different opinions on that?
Not over here.
I'm waiting on Mark to say something.
Me too.
It's like the Z movie. 9 people agree, 1 person has to disagree.
I'll disagree. I think it's immoral that kind of money when you're not making a company profitable. Now I know they're going to argue that they're, he's growing the company and they're rolling out the IPO and all that, but I think at some point people have to realize you don't have to be rich to be successful.
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So you could be the richest guy ever and be miserable. And as we said, the Amazon guy.
Well, you also got to say what is the difference between your lifestyle at 20 million or 100 million? I mean, really, at some point, that money, all it is a way to keep score. It's just a way to keep score.
Well, but Bill Gates once was famously quoted as saying, he's like, after you get so many millions of dollars, you come to that realization it's still the same cheeseburger.
That's true.
And yet they keep asking for those big salaries. So do they say that because it's cute or because they believe it?
Well, in Gates' defense, I think he stopped taking pay raises after a while. In fact, he gives away most of his wealth, to be honest. But there was always.
The president.
So does what?
The president doesn't take a salary either.
No, he does. No, he doesn't. Well, I'm not going to get into that. I've always wondered if people want to become president for the right reasons. I've wondered that for a long time.
Yeah, you get $250,000 for the rest of your life.
Hilarious.
And you get protection.
It's not a bad deal.
No, you're right. It's not. You're right. It's not a bad. deal. Let's see here. Low Roller Scratcher said, "Are you doing Bezos' divorce video on this channel?" Yeah, I actually will do a video on that. I think you're going to be surprised. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually in the can.
It's like a TMZ kind of thing happening.
No, it's really different. Well,
today on the Apptrepreneur, we see this guy.
No. Okay, guys, seriously, it's not going to be like that. In fact, we all, with the exception of, I don't know if Dustin's channel was around like a year ago, but remember that day that like Travis Kalanick's mom died? We all made videos about that, and they were all very respectful. In fact, I think they were all responding to comments like this, like, "Hey, look, we're not going to be jerks. We don't take any joy in his mother dying, no matter how much we hate how he runs the company. Like we just don't. So it's going to be very much like that. So and it's also going to be a way for me to reaffirm, like, and you know what, things like this kind of like even highlight when people like tell me like, why don't you tell people they can make $2,000 a week? It's like, because you can't enjoy life. Look at this guy, 25, richest man in the world. He's getting divorced. Yeah, I may make a little bit less money than some of these other Uber tubers who break their backs.
Same.
To make $2,000 a week, like they call it the 2K club. But you know what? I'm happy. I'm not miserable. I know it seems like I'm miserable because of my channel, but do you know how many people, like, when they talk to me, they're like, you're a lot nicer than I thought you'd be. And it's like, yeah, because generally I'm happy. And that's one of the reasons I liked being able to share the proposal video. It's like to show what my life was like outside, away from YouTube a little bit. And it's like, I'm not making $2,000 a week. I'm making like $3,000-4,000 a month, but I'm not making $2,000 a week, and yeah, that's less than some people, but I'm happy. Like, these people can't say they have a nice, kind fiance who's getting his life together, who's looking forward to the future. They're thinking about the grind. So that's what the video is going to be about: how you can be really rich and still be fairly miserable. And I don't take any pleasure when that happens.
Got it.
So that's what the video is going to be about.
Oh, and Jordan even says it's also a good way to make a video about a trending, widely searched news story.
Well,
nobody asked Jordan what he thought.
But I mean, it is
Jordan's
right,
always
though,
inserting himself in places where he doesn't belong. I'm just kidding, Jordan.
He's gonna. Geez, we're roasting him so much. We're gonna have to make him a co-host at some point.
I know. We're gonna definitely.
Okay. New rule. Let's not roast him anymore.
Okay.
I mean, we appreciate him watching. So,
all right, Uberman, what's your question, man?
Who is Uberman? Who is that person? Is that
the guy that says Uberman?
It's not Randy, for the record.
I know it's not.
Yeah.
But funny. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mark.
One of the questions from Michael is, why does Uber have incompetent phone people? And I think the answer is pretty straightforward. It's like, because they suck as a company at everything else they do. Why wouldn't they suck there?
Damn.
Yeah, they outsource everything is their problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And we all know the answer to that. So let's.
But thankfully, every time I've called, I mean, whether they didn't, obviously I could tell they weren't from here, from the U.S., but thankfully I've been able to understand them, and they have handled my situations. So I technically, personally, in my experience, have never had issues with the phone support. It's always the message. When you try to message them, that's when everything gets stupid.
Oh my God. I've cut so many people out on that thing. Yeah.
and then they just send you a canned response. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we can't help you with that. We're still looking into the situation. Like, you don't even know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. What situation?
It's always a different name. And it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah. So apparently someone named Roy had a question, but I don't see what Roy's question. I don't even see Roy on here.
There's Roy. I want to know which knife is best to whip out on these customers.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, no, not even.
That would
not
be
even gonna go there.
The Switchblade 2000.
But okay, here's an interesting. Actually, this is a really good question. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually kind of low roller scratcher. I have to say I am impressed by this question. This might even open up a whole can of worms, but I'm gonna Do you think handicapped people will file a lawsuit against self-driving cars and self-driving delivery services?
Yes, I do think it's, if it hasn't happened already.
Unless those vehicles have a ramp that pops out.
It's just too, yeah. I mean, come on. If they haven't thought about it, do it.
Well, they might have it where the thing pops out. It would have to be like a bus or a shuttle or something where it actually, the ramp pops down and then it'll pick them up and bring them in. That's the only way I could see that feasible. But like a normal Uber X, that ain't happening.
Well, even like the food, when I'm thinking about it, like so I think maybe it was him who asked this question in the comments, where it's like when you go out to the self-driving car to get your food, it's like, what if you're a handicapped person that, like, you know, can't leave the house? You need them to bring it to the door. Like, what then? Like, is that discriminatory?
Unless they have it in the, in what's going to happen. You know what I mean? When it pulls up to you and it tells you what you have to do, and it has like a disclaimer in there saying if you can't reach this or do this. That's the only thing possible I could think of.
Yeah, because I mean, I've actually made a few videos on handicapped people and Uber's lack of services available to them, and people, I think well, I don't know, maybe they're taken out of context, maybe they're not. I don't know. But I always keep explaining to people, like, guys, the issue with Uber and their handicapped services is that we are independent contractors, and the drivers have to alter their own vehicles to support certain handicap people. And
right,
I mean, yeah, they could be on the Uber Assist, but they don't get any more money, and it costs more money to operate these vehicles and do these changes, and Uber is not helping them.
Yeah,
so they're just not going to do them.
It's going to take them actually filing a lawsuit so that because that Disabilities Act was, signed
by
like
that jerk Nixon. That's a joke, folks. That's a joke, folks.
I feel like the 80s or 90s, and so who knew that Rideshare and all these other things
would ever exist?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to modify that, and they need to actually say, is this something that company, is this burden on the company? Is this burden on our independent contractors affected? You know what I mean? Like, really, it's like, whose fault is it? Whose responsibility is it to accommodate these people? And they have to file a suit to go back to court to continue the conversation, because the act doesn't really cover what's going on currently.
It's
and I think that they should. Yeah.
Well, Cecily, what you're not addressing here is who's going to own these alleged self-driving cars. Are you telling me a company that has built itself on other people's property and other people's vehicles suddenly going to put out millions of self-driving vehicles? Are they going to invest in that? Hell no. That company, are they going to pay for the upkeep, for the repairs, for the cleaning? Who are they going to have vomit centers in every town? I think anyone that thinks that Uber is going to have self-driving cars is delusional. I don't think, no offense, Dustin,
I agree.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh no,
I don't think it's something we have to worry about.
I just think in general, self-driving cars will be the thing. Whatever company owns them is what it'll be. But eventually, that's how it'll be. We're going to be like the Jetsons, man.
Well. Okay, look, let's take a step back. Whether they're going to happen or not, that's up to debate. But that's not exactly what we're talking about. The question is, let's pretend that they are the thing, since that's where we're supposedly headed. Like that, then the question does come up, though. Like, well, but what about handicapped people? Like,
well, yeah, and going back to that, I feel like even if that was not the topic, if I misunderstood, I feel like that's a good conversation, because I have been, in doing things, in delivering Uber Eats and Uber, I've had moments, as I call them, with people who would consider themselves being handicapped and what they expected. And I'm not registered as Uber Assist. So it's like, I wasn't even supposed to have this conversation with you, but I definitely come in contact with customers who are not able to do certain things, walk to the car and that kind of thing. And they expected, hey, this is who I am, and these are the services that I demand and I need, and I don't have your job if you don't. And it's like, wait, like, that's not on me.
Especially people that were in wheelchairs, yes.
Yeah, that's really not my responsibility. I felt like the responsibility of the company, and I think that the company should assume a responsibility for those kinds of interactions. And I think that they've tried with giving people the assist training, but for those who I know that gone through the training, it's still not enough. And I don't know how that is even how they even handle it with the food delivery.
Well,
And those things.
my guess is what's going to happen is they'll have to have a certain number of vehicles in every city, probably depending upon population or usage. It's sort of like when you go to the grocery store and they have a couple of handicapped parking spaces. Well, what if both those parking spaces are full? Can they sue the store and say you didn't have a place for me to park? I don't think so. So if they say, well, we have a couple of vehicles available right now, one's not available for you, I think it's just something that they may have to deal. I'm just guessing here, but I don't know. You can't expect a vehicle to be available to everyone who needs it all the time.
Yeah,
I think they have to make reasonable accommodations, and it doesn't mean that they have to meet everyone's demands. I think the language says reasonable accommodations, and there are some that are legal and they are required, like having parking spaces at grocery stores. But once those are taken up, well, there's not a lot they can do anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And it is interesting to see the comments because
people want you to talk about Uber Freight there, Mark.
We're not talking about Uber Freight today. There's nothing to talk about.
Hilarious.
You know, I every time this comes up, I do get people who are handicapped, and I mean, I sympathize with them, but I think that they get mad at the wrong person when we talk about things like this, because they're like, well, until you are handicapped, you won't understand. It's like, no, I had Guillain-Barré when I was a kid and was like in a wheelchair for a little while, so I actually do understand that there are limitations that come, but I'm also reasonable enough to like not expect the moon either. I mean, the whole definition of handicap is that you are handicapped. You can't do certain things. Like if you're paralyzed, you can't swim, for example, and nothing's going to ever change that. So to expect, so with independent contractors, this Uber company, to expect like, hey, all these people, they're just trying to make a little extra money with what they have, to expect them to completely get these expensive handicap, friendly vehicles and run them at a much higher cost for something that they might not even want to do as a career. They're just doing a little extra money. That seems to be very unreasonable.
It's very unreasonable and excessive. Like, who's going to do that? Who has the time?
Yeah. So, and I know that I'm going to get like a bunch of very, very nasty comments.
No, but I agree with you though too on that. That's a negative, Ghost Rider. I'm not buying a $80,000 vehicle just for that.
Yeah,
you're not getting paid any more than the guy that's got a $20,000 or a $10,000 used car, and you're making the same prices, or like 20-30 cents extra. Like, that's just not worth it.
And I would love to add
you're not making anything extra because you can't charge more.
Right. But I mean,
that's even more negative.
But Uber should do more than what they're doing. I don't think that watching a video and answering 4 questions, I haven't gone through Assist. I remember getting the prompts for it, but I don't believe it was like labor intensive. But I feel like they need to do more than what they're doing. That I agree with. I feel like if that community feels like they're being underserved, I say yes, because I don't think that anything that I would have got in terms of a quiz and, now I've got that additional feature on my phone would have even begun to prepare for me to service that community. And I feel like they need to create a separate fleet of drivers with cars and all that kind of stuff that meets their demands.
Yeah,
Point blank, period.
Because of liability fees.
Hell yeah.
Well, because of what if you help someone get out of the wheelchair and they fall and hit their face and something, and they're like, I'm going to sue you because you dropped me or something like that.
Exactly.
I'm like, cancel.
and that kind of thing, and people that I know that work with people who have disabilities in that nature, they don't have a quiz. They don't go through watch a video. They go through extensive training. And I would expect that if that person was one of my loved ones, I have a niece that's autistic, and she requires
need to be certified.
Around the clock care. None of those people are in there without anything less than, I'm sure, hours and hours and hours of training and certificates and that
master's
kind of
degree and something.
I want you to get all the training and all the training when you're dealing with people I care about.
Yeah, well, I'm autistic too, and I have I've actually had like a stuttering problem for years, and only by very careful practice and lots of years of practice can I speak clearly. But yeah. So I understand like this whole training
That's
thing.
why you don't drink.
But you're doing all right though with your damn
would've never thought
podcast
that.
every month.
Yeah, I would have never thought you had
Yeah,
that.
but I always go back and re-listen to them, and I can always hear the flaws in my voice. That's the annoying thing.
We all do
about
that,
it.
Kevin. That's just honey. I don't ever listen to our podcast because I know I mess up all the time. How about that?
Yeah. So anyway, that's definitely like that was a loaded question. So thanks for asking it. But yeah, I think ultimately we're gonna have, if self-driving cars and self-delivery are the future, which these are the self-driving cars, that's probably an easy fix. You just make all the cars handicap accessible. But like when
Did
it
you
comes
see
to like
what
delivery,
Alex said a driver for medical transportation gets $10 for pickup and $1 per mile.
oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. But I do think that they're going to have to reassess what reasonable accommodations mean in this self-driving future, if it actually happens. Although, I don't know. This is kind of an interesting topic for me. One of the things that, like, when I'm reading these articles about these companies like suing them, they're like, we have all of these services that specifically cater to us handicapped people, but they're more expensive, so we'd rather use Uber. And maybe I'm naive, but it's like, well, if there's a company that offers you a service that you need and they do it better, why don't you just use that service? I mean,
You get what you pay for.
I will gladly pay more for In-N-Out Burger than I will for McDonald's. Why is that any different?
Exactly.
So anyway, so that seems like a good question to
That was a good question.
end
That was
on.
a good question. Who asked that?
That was Low Roller Rider.
All right, Low Roller.
No, sorry, Low Roller Scratcher. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
But again, that's assuming the self-driving future is a thing. And guys, I've been reporting on the self-driving cars for like 3 years now, and it's always 2 years away. That should be one of my mugs, because one of my futures is I do want to start making T-shirts and mugs, and maybe one of the T-shirts I should make is self-driving cars. They're only 2 years away. That might be a cute one. Who knows? So anyway, thank you everyone for listening to the first episode of season 2 of the Monthly Rideshare podcast, and let's give a special hand to Dustin for joining us.
Yay!
When Mike
You get a smack of it. You get a smack of
which Mike could. Thank you for filling in when Mike couldn't join us. Although it should be mentioned, folks, that Mike did make some thumbnails for the iTunes and Google Play podcast. So right now the podcast is on SoundCloud, and we are going to be putting it on iTunes and Google Play soon. I mean, that's always been a long-term goal. That's one of the reasons that we don't do video image, but also we are going to have a poll to kind of test that feature out. So if you want it, go to the poll and vote yes or no whether you'd like to see that happen. Also, I should address some other things that have been brought up, because people have been asking what flame responsibly means. Like, hey, you're at 10,000. What's it mean? Actually, one person in this room does know what it means, and he actually said he felt it was like, oh, geez, that makes perfect sense. I feel kind of dumb not realizing that.
I felt dumb after I found out.
But
you know too?
We are. Yeah. Well, in all fairness, that situation that came up, I talked to Dustin for hours pretty much about it, so I kind of let him know as a thank you. But for everybody else, we are planning that party. Me and Cecily are discussing it on Facebook. Once we nail that date down, the celebration video will go up, and we'll plan out the live stream, and then set your bookmark it, set the reminder if you will, because we will be discussing what flame responsibly means. It's just going to be a little longer, but hopefully it will be worth the wait. We're
going to hype it up like Trip.
Well, I really don't hype it up. In fact, I always tell people, like, guys, if you really think about it, it kind of explains itself.
Okay.
So, do you not agree, Dustin?
I know, right?
I'm so confused.
It's so funny though. It's like it's so hyped right now, like Trip is. we got this new phrase. What do you want to know about it? Just inbox me.
So, hey, here's a question. How many Uber tubers, including you guys, are going to make a video like this is news, like Apptrepreneur explains what flame responsibly means? And giving your opinions on it.
I don't know. I might need the views since I haven't been on for a while. So I'll
probably do one.
I might do it.
Might be a slow news day. Who knows?
Cecily's back and she's got something to share.
So, all right. So anyway, that is where we're going to wrap it up. So again, thank you, Rideshare Dustin, for joining us.
Oh, we're not gonna say anything on Trip for a second.
Oh, do you want to say something about Trip?
Oh, Lord.
Are we?
With all the hype that they've been doing, everything else, finally someone actually showed me a rider and driver app. They didn't click on them, but they showed it to me that it was on their phone and everything. They had a couple things in there, but personally, still, I guess we already have one tuber that's doing the rides, like putting their rider code out because it's free. So technically, there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't want to give them my info until it's actually real because I don't know what they'll do with it.
Yeah, I've got a referral link because of my channel.
But like we have also known too is, just because you see an app all of a sudden doesn't mean it's going to go live. It still doesn't mean nothing. All it is, a button to press right now. If that button doesn't do anything, it's just kind of useless.
Right. That was one of the things that Juno got sued for when they were bought out, was because they promised something and then they
sure did.
They sold, and basically they took all the information that we gave them and they sold them to who knows who.
That's why I don't want to join on any of that. Right.
So it's
But I just wanted to let people know that people can, we've all been like hearing about it so much.
Yes, we have.
Well, in terms of,
it's like a week-old pizza. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. If Trip actually launches, we will be doing a podcast episode about this.
Oh yeah.
And also, it should be mentioned, I do have the phone number of the CEO of Trip. So if the service launches, maybe we should invite him onto the podcast and we should all ask him questions about the service.
I've actually been talking to someone that works for the company and has invited me to speak with the CEO as well. So that could be kind of cool.
Yeah, I've had.
They're actually
people ask me that.
They're here in Southern California. We should, maybe we should just go up there, Kevin.
Yeah, I would have thought you guys definitely would have tried to see what was really going on.
Well, I didn't want to go by myself.
Our next collaboration video.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah, I'm all the way in Florida, so I ain't going there just on a whim. It's got to be a sure thing.
Right, exactly. So, all right. So yeah, we might talk about Trip more in the future, but I get a little personally tired of talking about a company that doesn't have anything to show for it. It's like,
well, I think there's some things need to be cleared up, and I will say this: there were a lot of people approaching me about the service, and a lot of the information wasn't the same. I'll just say that, and so.
Yes. None of it was.
You know what I mean? And so I saw, just randomly, I said to someone, hey, a lot of people have been approaching me about this. I got it. And this person was like, hey, I actually work for the company. So tell me what's been said. And when I told him, he apologized profusely. He was like, yeah, we need to rein in some of these people because I don't think that they really realize that, how we want to be represented as a company. And he was like, and I invite you to come in and to talk to the CEO because I really want you to have an understanding of what it is that we're doing, because a lot of these people that are contacting you don't work for us. And I liked that. That made me feel good about what they were doing, because I was like, this feels real scammy.
But that also sounds like damage control to me too.
Well, and it also to me shows that, well, but if you had good representation of your own company, then maybe
they should have contacted all of us.
Here's the thing. I will say this. It's a new company, and I don't know who has business experience and whatnot. And I do feel like, there should have been a formal process and reaching out to all of us and inviting us and that kind of thing. But I think they armed this. They created this army of drivers and hopefuls or whatever, to get other people involved. And I think that was probably the misstep for them, because of course they came for everybody. And I know that you guys have received the emails just like I have. And a lot of the information is not the same, including the dollar amounts, which really caused alarm for me. I was like, wait, these dollar amounts are not matching.
So what was your final? It was 200, right, to be an influencer?
I've seen from
I heard 200.
Dustin,
I'm
getting 199.
I've seen as low as but I've seen as low in the 150s all the way up to 200. Like I've had people talking to me about this since the summer, and I have like a folder of all the communication. At first there wasn't a name. And then I saw the name and I saw the variations of communication, and I was like, how are people saying that they were like creating their own business communication, and there was like a letterhead, and you know what I'm saying? So I was like, what is this exactly?
Yeah, people were contacting me since October.
Okay, yeah. I had
and supposedly Trip should go live next week. From my last updates. So we'll see.
That's like the 2-year argument. I've been hearing it for a while.
Wow.
Well, you know what I don't like about Trip is the way they're going about promoting it, because I'm assuming this is happening to all of you. You know, my channel has been spammed by them. They're putting in messages that are completely unrelated just so they can drop in their links and have invites.
Yep.
And
delete.
I blocked them from my channel because I figure if this is the way they go about it and they're not even in business yet, it's only going to be worse, because you know that leopard does not change its spots. And so I mentioned them once, and I wouldn't even say their name, just to say that I think this is not a good way to go about doing business. I think that it's unethical. I think that you know, it just shows me the way that they're going. If they treat me that way, trying to hijack my channel, how are they going to treat drivers?
Yeah, they're trying to be shady now in the beginning before it even starts. You can imagine later on.
Well, that's my whole point.
But we're also talking about people who are not actual employees. They're like, I think he referred to them as networkers or something. They're people who are, or whatever the word is. But yeah, they're not. So, you know, that unfortunately, why would you, my question is, why would you have people that don't have invested interest in your company speak for your company?
Let them sign up and stuff.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Maybe they've got a lot to learn, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to bring that up because it's, you know, it technically is like a big topic because you just keep seeing it everywhere you look. In my Facebook group every day, everyone's like, you want another thing besides Uber and Lyft? Inbox me, I'll tell you. And everyone just pops up and says, what, Trip? Like, we don't know. Like, if you can't even talk about
funny.
The company, why do we want to hear about it? If you can't even blatantly tell us the information right here and now, then obviously it's like you're hiding something. It's, you know, and then of course the little MLM pyramid, it looks like, you know what I mean? It walks like a duck.
Yeah.
Quacks like a duck. And usually I'm pretty sure it's a duck.
So, yeah. But I would love for them to I would love for them to have I would love to hear it from whoever that the theys are. And so I'm like, okay, so what is this really? You know, because it just doesn't seem that I'm talking to folks that really know what's going on.
Yeah, it's right. It's like, let me speak to someone in charge. Who's in charge?
Can you put me on the phone with your supervisor, please?
I know, I need the supervisor. I need someone that knows what they're talking about right here, okay? Not just trying to sell me. I already told you no. I don't know how many people I've told no.
So, Kevin, I think we're going to do it.
Oh, and then when they say, when it does go live, you're going to sign up with me? Why would I sign up with you when I'm the one that has all the stuff?
That's the thing I thought that was insulting. I agree, Dustin, because it's like, if I do want to create a relationship with a company, I would go straight to your company.
Yeah, it's like, why would I
create a relationship there?
What are you going to do to help me? You know,
right
I'm
on.
the one helping you.
Right on.
We're putting our reputations and stuff on the line.
Yeah.
And that's why, even though the Rider app is free right now, I am not signing up, and if I, you know, or putting a code out or anything like that, because if that becomes a scam or something, I don't want to be associated with a scam. I mean, that'll kill your image, anything you have. I mean, it's just not worth it in the end.
Yeah.
A lot of these people out there that just don't care because they're like, oh, well, we're hoping to get rich or hoping to make money, but they don't care if it goes south because they're nobodies and nobody's going to care about them.
Yeah, you do Uber. Like, I think you could associate with a scam.
Well, true,
Wow.
but we are getting paid up front, and we didn't have to pay for an app for
That's
promises.
true.
People
That's
are
true.
paying for promises.
It was a joke.
When you sign that agreement, we actually know we're getting screwed. So
Hilarious.
I'd rather know I'm getting screwed up front than find it out later.
Yep. Oh, hey, Payman's in the house. He gave me and Katie and my friends a ride to Rayo's restaurant in Las Vegas when the Uber app was down nationwide.
Oh, you should have did a video on that, man.
I think
with him in the you're in live in the vehicle.
Yeah, I made it. Well, that's going to be a vlog on my other channel, but in one of my Uber videos, I did show a clip of that, and he is seen visibly. He even decorated the car for us, like just engaged or just married. It looked like it was really awesome. I loved it, and Katie was pretty blown away by it. It was especially funny. It was especially funny afterwards. One of our friends was like, so he seemed really happy to meet you, and I'm like, yeah, I've got some good viewers. What can I say? I appreciate
awesome,
the people who watch my channel. So yeah, I haven't heard from him in a while. But hey, Payman, how you doing? So, all right. But unfortunately for Payman, the show is pretty much coming to an end. I mean, we've been going for about 2 hours now, which it's funny. Dustin was like, "How long do we do it?" And it's like about an hour and a half if it gets.
Because you guys are all in San Francisco and I'm in Florida, so it's 9:30 here.
Oh, gee. Yeah, and I'm sure Mark's getting late too, and he was getting drunk before it got late.
I haven't heard him talk much.
I'm not East Coast, but I'm close to you.
Oh, okay, folks. Well, we got to have our little after show private chat that we normally have that you guys are not privy to. But for everyone, thank you for listening to the new season.
You should put that on your thing.
No, I won't. But
it's not for public consumption.
It's not for public consumption.
I like that, Mark. Oh, Mark. I'll take you in the app, Mark.
But we do appreciate you all listening. So for those of you who might have been listening to this after the live stream, sorry we missed you. But tell you what, you can still comment below. You can still like, favorite, share, subscribe to all of our channels. And yeah, as always, flame responsibly, and we will see you in the next episode. We'll see if Mike's going to join us again. But once again, thank you, Rideshare Justin, not Justin, Dustin, for filling the void. It was definitely fun to have you.
Thank you for having me. It has been a pleasure. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, now that you've made it on the Apptrepreneur channel and this podcast, maybe you've made it.
I've made it now. I'm
kidding. There's 2 people in this room that have more subscribers than I do, so but I'm just the most easy to make fun of.
Okay, you're just trying to make me feel bad now.
Oh, Mark.
You're not that far down there, Mark. What are you talking about? You're going to be at like 25 at the end of the year.
Yeah, and yeah, also Mark's videos admittingly are some of the more well thought out of all of our videos.
I love Mark's background.
I love all his background.
Is that your way of saying boring?
No, as in like you actually for starters, you actually read the articles before you. I don't do that all the. Sometimes I'm reading the articles because I like to get my live reaction. Because sometimes and it's obvious because sometimes I read something stupid and I actually stop talking and I get frustrated.
Or you actually even said, "Well, I should have read that first."
Hysterical.
So, anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.